everybody, it's me, Margaret, and when I last left you, I had no plan for this large but oddly shaped room that I'll call my craft room, and I was in the process of beginning from boxes, and now I'm making some headway, and I actually do have a plan that I think is going to work out, and it's going to involve changing what you see here. I just can't get to it yet, but today I want to show you what I did that led me up to this point and the decisions that I've made so far. It's important to note that not all my days in the craft room involved organizing. My oldest son requested more masks so he wouldn't have to wash as often, and so I was happy to do that. And we've been getting accustomed to our neighborhood, so I have other things to do besides working inside the house. I've started golf again, and we bought pickleball rackets, though I don't know how to play pickleball, but we're getting there. Today is day 6. Not by the calendar, but by how many days I am working on my craft area. This is the guest room right off the craft area where I keep just stuffing things till I can get to them. And that includes things like pictures that need to go in other parts of the house. This is Boo Boo. This was my bear. My daddy brought it home for me when I was brought home from the hospital. And my grandmother remade his clothes. I had worn him out because I loved him so much. He used to have a red and white gingham outfit, and she made this, which was actually a bright royal blue at one time, and she called it his space suit. I remember that vividly. So there's the back of him because he spends the majority of his time with his face front, so that's why he's fading. And he used to have a nose, but somewhere along the line, some dog or cat or somebody bit it off. But Boo Boo has stayed with me all these years. I know it doesn't appear sorted, but it is for my purposes. Sometimes I like to sort things by brand, sometimes color, sometimes by fiber. So it makes sense in my head, though it may not make sense in your head. So let's look at the closet. This was my first attempt at yarn organization, but I've since moved it. So today, and I say that because it could change on any day, but this day, this is what these crates look like up here. Basically, it's my acrylic yarn grouped by color. Most of those could be used interchangeably. They are very similar in structure. And then, of course, I've got some projects in bags that are up in there, and that is a bag full of project bags right there. And on the top is my blocking mats. So that's where I stand today. Now below, these are the containers that have a camera equipment in it. I've got lots of different types of cameras, and that's all in there. Now here I used hangers to just kind of hang some bags out of the way. Some of this is stuff that I want to refashion. Like this was a bathing suit cover-up that I don't like, and I'm going to turn that into something else. And this is a bag full of small bits and pieces of yarn that I could do something else with. These are here temporarily, not sure what I'm going to do with these things. But right here I see something that can go downstairs. These are some baby clothes that my big kids wore, and a little christening gown back behind there. So I can put these downstairs to save some room. This was a dress that I made for her one Christmas with the little pearl buttons, and I did this little lace collar, and her brother had matching pants out of it. That was so cute. But anyhow, I want to save that. But I am implementing something I've learned from somebody else. This is new to me. It's foam board, and you just cut it a little slightly bigger to act as a divider for your shelves. It also works great for drawer dividers and things like that as well. So I'm getting better at it. I've cut it slightly too tall, but it does come in and out. You can see it's slightly bowed depending upon the angle. See the slight bow, but it's fine, and it works great for my purposes. So that might be something you could implement in your house. You can get poster board size foam boards for $1 at the Dollar Tree. You can even get them cheaper if you order in bulk off Amazon sometimes. So when I finished working that day, this is what the cabinets look like. But now, up on the top of these units is my finer yarn, my higher quality yarn, and I keep that so that it's dust free up there. I also want to keep it away from windows because I don't want it to fade. And then as we go down, these are sorted by type. That's all Vanna's Choice up there, because I don't believe Vanna's Choice can actually be mixed with others and still have it look right. It's just, I don't know, maybe I just recognize that the texture and the way it's spun and all that stuff. I don't know. But that's actually up there and right there. And then over here we have a last little bit of Caron Simply Soft that, again, I don't think goes with a whole lot of different things. There are a few other ones that I like, maybe some kind from Hobby Lobby and something else. But when I need to get to it, I know it's right there. And then that was some discontinued yarn right up there. So it's a roving yarn. So that's grouped that way. And then we come down here with some basic acrylics down there as well. Now, one reason that I have crates in this large spot, even though I do have an extra shelf that could go here, is because the way this piece of furniture was made. Now, at the time, I was tired and frustrated, so I didn't take a picture to show you, but basically, the holes on this side are not exactly even. So one in the back is slightly higher, just slightly higher like that. And then when I came across like this, I could not get the shelf to be even. It was I kept moving all the little pegs, and then it rocked something horribly, because it goes back to what we talked about in the last video. Furniture like this is not often well made, and while I had slight problems with the pegs in the Dream Box, there was nothing like this. But it's not a problem for me, because I'll just put these crates in here. They fit very well, and I feel like my problem's solved. Now, this is not that organized, but what I've done is I use a regular cardboard box as its own little library, so it just kind of keeps everything standing up straight like that. And then this over here is actually a magazine holder, one of those inexpensive ones that you can get from, you know, any office supply store or whatever, and that holds up my sewing books. This just got plopped here because I needed to get it out of the way. And right now is a super time to get some of these things for free. Now, this happens to hold the round table covers that were at Walmart, but go to the back to school section, and this is the type of thing that is used to display folders and notebooks and things like that. And I know that Walmart is super about letting you have these for free. Now, last week when we were looking at different alternatives for storage, I was showing you the hard built-in wooden versions of these things, which are very expensive. I totally forgot about these, which are what I have for years. These have got to be 20-something years old, and they're holding up beautifully. They're made of cardboard. I got these from something like Office Depot, and you can see this is how many is together. It's by the brand Banker's Box. I thought this was called a Banker's Box, but it's not. It's the brand. And you can see they're called literature holders. And basically you put them together. They come kind of flat. Well, they are flat. And then they have instructions for how you stand them up, put this thing in the middle, and then they give you these little plastic edges. And these have lasted me, like I said, about 20 years. So these are a great, inexpensive alternative to one of those built-in, not built-in, but wooden versions of the literature holder. And down in this section is my cotton yarn on the bottom shelf, and that is sock yarn up there. And then my umbrella swift is right there, for lack of a better place. But it works fine for now. So this brings us to this portion of the room. So let's start right here. We have the Dream Box right now fully open. I've done a lot of work on that. I keep changing the setup a little bit, like right here, moving shelves a lot. I've hung up some scissors and cutting utensils and done the same over there. That's actually hole punches and a box cutter or whatever. We'll go into detail of what types of things later if you're interested in going that deep into it. But right now, just know that I have done a lot of work. And by having this space, these 85,000 cubic inches, I've also alleviated, or rather freed up, a lot of organizational materials that I used before. Let me show you. Everything that's right inside this attic storage until I can get in there and put it up later. All of those boxes and everything that you see are baskets, dividers, different things that I have used to organize in the past that I no longer need. So we don't want to get rid of all of this stuff just yet because we're still organizing the rest of the house. And already Tucker came in here the other day and said, I need some things for my desk. So he went shopping, so to speak. So that works out great. And we still have the little ironing center over here, which unfortunately Buzzy has decided she likes to sleep on, and I'll show you why she's taken that over in just a minute. We have the cubbies, as I've showed you before, and what I've added is another table running perpendicular, and that is for my embroidery machine and my serger. When I sew, I'll have the sewing machine here. I can just pull it back, place it right there, and I'll be sewing right there. My chair is on wheels on the bottom, and so it's easy just to scoot over here and use the serger if I need to. The embroidery machine doesn't have pedals or anything like that, so but I can still just sit there to, you know, oversee what's going on over here when I need it. But the serger and the sewing machine needed to be in close proximity with one another. But I wanted the sewing machine here because I would have more room left and right, which sometimes you need more room for the fabric that's coming over like that. I also wanted the more room going to the back. When you have bigger or heavier projects, you need that. And that's why I don't have the sewing machine and serger sitting side by side. Now, I believe I showed you last time that I did use my little lattice trick right here. I've modified what I put on it since then. So I put my thread rack. Unfortunately, it does extend a little bit past, but you know what? I can live with that. So I have this thread rack for all my embroidery machine colors. And I also store my serger cones on this. Now, it won't just stay on the little short cones. It just falls right off. So the way I rectified that was I extended it by taping a popsicle stick onto it. Now I chose to use painter's tape because I didn't want to hurt my pegs in any way, because I'm always repurposing and changing the way I do things. But for whatever reason, it won't stay. I'm going to use this Scotch tape, or cello tape as they call it in the UK. I think that would work, and I'm just trying not to go to the tried and true duct tape, because I think that the sticky would never come off of those things. And besides, if this doesn't come off very well, it's clear, so that way I haven't actually ruined it. But here's the method. I do every other one on this row, so that would be this one. I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way, but I basically just wrap it around tightly as I can, pressing the popsicle stick, and you'll do it on the bottom of it because it seemed to end up rolling that way anyway, and then that holds it on there nicely. So I will add in between, on all these pegs that are in between the top ones here, I'll do the other ones. So they're all in place and ready to go. Okay, I think Maggie has her couch and a chair that she won't need any longer because they're going to use Brian's. And so what I'm going to do is take that couch, and it'll probably extend out about this far, maybe this far, and it's going to be against this, backed up against this. So we'll be able to sit right here in the sitting area. I'll put the chair over there. Now the reason I'm not putting the couch along this wall is because, got my cord caught, we have these shutters installed, and the shutters open like this, which is awesome. I like that a lot. But the couch comes up to right there, just too tall. So in other words, you wouldn't be able to open and close it at leisure, which is what I want to be able to do when the weather is good. I'm not sure what I'll put right here. I'm not sure about all the details yet, but I'm pretty sure this is how I'm going to make this little seating area. And then there's a chest under here that will serve as a coffee table for me to put my feet on. Now the cutting table right now is going to stay here, and what I did was put the TV up there, and it has been awesome. And yes, you do see an owl up there. He's actually a Halloween decoration, but I hate to put him in the hot attic. I don't know what that's going to do to the feathers and the glue and all that kind of stuff, so I decided he's just going to live up there as if I have an owl from Harry Potter. I don't know, but there you go. Now what I did have up there were these wicker baskets. There's 2 of them. I store old sheets in those. Now let's talk about these sheets a minute. I've always saved old sheets because fabric is expensive, and because we just moved, I used them for packing material, so now I have this mess of fabric to get back into the craft room. Because they're big and bulky, my favorite way to store them is to roll them up and stand vertically so that I can see what's there, and then I can take one without having to dig through a stack. So besides padding for moving boxes, what do I use them for? Well, they're perfect for sewing muslins, or toiles if you're British, which are practice garments used to get fitting just right before you cut into your expensive fabric, or, if you're really talented, to design your own patterns. However, they've come in handy to make flags for senior activity that we did last year at Thomas's school, or I've even used them to make giant signs. But most often they serve as an underlining for cotton skirts, and I'll show you how to do that in this video if you're interested. Last year I started learning to refashion, where you make new items from old items, like I did with this shirt and this shirt. So I spent several hours of days 6 and 7 sorting and folding all that stuff, which I'd also used for packing padding. We saved a lot of trees during this move and even reduced the number of boxes needed because this fabric was coming anyway, so I made it earn its keep. Now, quilting cotton is easy to fold, and I started trying to refold it all in this perfectly sized rectangle, but I gave up after 30 minutes. My previous setup required smaller rectangles, so if they were already folded, they ended up staying that way. They're all tucked into old gift bags that were cut down to fit the drawer. It's easier to keep everything standing up when you divide them into groups. Now I have my back to the stairs, the entranceway, and over here is what I've done for fabric storage and a little table for when I have to sit down and use my external hard drives. It's easier than going to get the external hard drives. I can just bring my computer, plug into which one I need, and off I go. And of course I could roll the chair from the sewing area just over here if I need to sit down. That's not a problem. And down at the bottom on either side are 2 sets of sheets that I ran across after I had organized all this stuff, so I need to put those up. So anyhow, this is the little towers that I've created over here with those baskets on top. They are on wheels, so I can get behind them to clean or whatever, and if I don't like this setup and begin to use everything up, of course, I can change that at any given time. And speaking of that, I wrote in a reply to Mardell that I don't think I ever stop rearranging my craft room because it's always evolving to suit my current needs. And then right after that, Mary said, when you get finished, it'll still be in progress. It's a craft space, fluid, always changing as you craft. And I love her choice of words, fluid, so true. It was only a small portion of the room, but it made a big difference. Currently, the treadmill is here, but it's going to be moved to where I'm standing. And the reason why is because we figured out that we could use one of our beloved pieces of furniture right here. And this is that piece of furniture. We just stuck it here in the front hallway where it does not belong. We thought Maggie might want it, but she doesn't, so I am going to use it up there because I can't get rid of it. And of course, it will also offer some good storage. So it may be that my yarn will end up living in there. I'm not sure, but what a good problem to have. More storage. Now, this is some toile fabric that I was going to use it in my house two houses ago, and I've carried it with me until I found a use for it. And I think since I have it, I'm going to go ahead and make that the color palette for this room. Red, white, maybe have blue, the gray. The walls are gray. I don't know if you can see it accurately in this filming, but But I think I'm going to use that. No sense in having it go to waste, and I like it. This will also be a project. It's an antique standing lamp that belonged to my grandmother, and I've carried it around with me all these years and never done anything with it. So I think what I want to do is make it white. I'm not sure yet, but I do know that it needs some loving attention, maybe even new wiring, and I heard that that's very easy to do. Although I've always taken my lamps to be rewired at an actual lamp store, but I may be brave and see if I can tackle the project on my own, but it definitely will do the painting. It is massively heavy. It's made of iron, so that will be a project. And then Tucker said he will paint this white for me. That would include the cubbies and the table and the chairs. Oh, I forgot. Look, I made some hanging storage over here for my cutting tools, because I call this the cutting table, and so it makes sense to keep the cutting tools handy. So this is a look of where we stand with the room today, and we have more to come as I tweak and fix and make this my own. Thanks for watching.